close-up look at all your Concho Valley High School football. This is Inside the Game, sponsored by Mitchell Automotive Group.
Welcome to Inside the Game. Jaden Hart, Rachel Turnock. Week 6 of the high school football season, all in one place. It was a rather quiet week in the Concho Valley. All of our 3A teams and most of our 2A teams were on a bye since they start district next week. We'll talk all about that a little bit later, but Central and Lakeview both on the road and just a few six-man games happening here locally. So let's start at the top with 6A and the Central Bobcats. Last week they faced a quick, clean Shoemaker team. Clearly looked like they'll be a threat this season. This week they got Schertz Clements.
Another tough test for Central. Head coach Brent Davis said, looking at the Buffaloes on film, they have a size advantage over the Bobcats. And this is also an intriguing matchup since Central doesn't usually play many San Antonio teams. They played Kerrville back in 2016 and 2017. And
Clemens got steamrolled by the defending state champs and 4th-ranked team in the state, Austin Westlake, last week. Despite that, they're a really good football team, and head coach Brent Davis echoed that throughout this week. So could the Bobcats slow down a Buffalo offense with 8 starters returning in a program known for their defense? Opening possession, and just like that, the Buffaloes cashing in Amari Williams from 2 yards out. Clements takes an early 7-0 lead. So how would Central respond? Mistakes hurt the Bobcats last week against Shoemaker, and this week it happened again. Weston Hill with the fumble, recovered by Clements, and things started to go south from that point forward. Next drive, Matt DiMenico fakes the handoff, weaves his way through the Bobcat defense into the house. That made it 14-0 at the end of the first quarter for Clements. Coach Davis and Central just trying to figure something out going into the second quarter. Here, Malachi Brown rolls out. This is why you practice the tip draw, folks. Picked off by Clemens, and that would set up another touchdown. 5 plays later, Domenico on the run, and he connects with Andrew Edwards. Nobody even close to him. Clemens led 28-0 at the half, and they go on to get a big win tonight, 35-0. Well, how about some Northside pride in the Lakeview Chiefs? 3-2 so far this season, coming off a big-time win over Brownfield last week. Now with just 2 non-district games left, they traveled over 350 miles for a second straight year to take on Favens with a chance to secure a first 4-win season for the first time since 2014.
Now that's crazy. The Chiefs also in a different time zone, one of my favorites, the Mountain Time Zone, for a date with the Favens Wildcats. The Chiefs have won the last 2 contests against Favens. The Wildcats will have a kind of energy tonight that Lakeview might not have, and this is Favens' season opener. They also didn't allow fans at this game. Favens moving the ball here on 3rd down, and they get the first down right there later. Favens, they're going to get on board. This touchdown goes in untouched for the TD, but the Chiefs, they've got Albert Rodriguez. Drops back and he passes through the middle, finds Tristan Franklin. What a catch. Goes down after the long gain. And then Rodriguez faking the handoff right here. And we know this guy has size and he's also got speed. Look at behind him. Wait, is anyone tackling me? No. See you later. Touchdown, Rodriguez. Lakeview goes on to win 49-20. Here's head coach Hector Guevara after the game.
I'm extremely proud of our kids. I'm proud of our staff. I think they put countless hours in and out, day in, day out, and they sacrifice a lot of time with these kids. And these kids also, they give up a lot of time. They come in early in the morning before anybody gets there, and they're the last ones to leave. So it's paying off, and I'm excited to see them get those victories, and hopefully we can continue to play better.
This update sponsored by Bug Express.
The Mason Punchers earned their first win of the season last week over Junction on the road at Center Point this week. The Tigers are 0-3 coming to this game, looking for their first win this season. And Mason with a big win over Center Point tonight, 48-7. Also, Punchers 1-0 in district play because that was their district opener.
Yeah, so the only team in the area, Ozona was in that district, and we will touch on that a little bit later. They were supposed to play Johnson City. COVID-19 happened and game got canceled. So district opener, the only team that actually had one tonight. Congrats to the Mason Punchers. A few other scores, and I'll just look down really quick. Crosstown rivalry and Abilene, Cooper, Abilene High. Abilene High lost 30-20. Midland Lee taking on Amarillo Tascosa. That was a big game, you know, Tascosa being in that district previously. Well, Midland Lee looking like the 18th ranked team in the state. They get the win at 31-21. And just a few others. Permian beats Mesquite Horn 51-10. Friendship beats Burleson 49-42. And then the last one is Midland High falling big time to Amarillo High 49-17. But we're just getting started. I mentioned six-man. Well, could Erie County keeps its perfect season alive on the road at Blackwell, while Eden was looking to snap a 4-game losing streak against second-ranked Sterling City? Those highlights and scores from across six-man next.
Protecting and loving our families, taking care of our land and livestock, and enjoying the Texas sunset after a long, hard day are values we hold dear in West Texas. For over 70 years, Twin Mountain Fence has been helping our neighbors uphold these values with quality fencing for your home and ranch. From around the country and the Concho Valley to your neck of the woods, Twin Mountain Fence has been and always will be here for you.
When life is busy, stay up to date with all your news throughout the Concho Valley online, covering the stories that affect your community. Watch CVHP News with Sonora Scott, only on ConchoValleyHomepage.com.
Shop local, stay safe, and keep downtown strong.
With webcasts, push alerts, and website exclusives, all completely free, behind zero paywalls. ConchoValleyHomepage.com isn't just news for San Angelo. It's keeping you connected to the Concho Valley.
And we're back, hopping right into six-man football. 7 games this week, 3 taking place here in the Concho Valley, and 2 of them featuring our only 2 undefeated teams, Erie County and Sterling City. And let's start with the Erie County Hornets taking on Blackwell. And on any given week, this would be a big-time matchup.
It's extra special. It's hard to believe this is the first meeting this century between Erie County and Blackwell, which makes sense. Erie County was an 11-man football team for 40-plus years. The last meeting came in 1975. What were you doing then?
Nothing. Even though Erie County is 5-0, head coach Don Kofel admits their schedule hasn't been the toughest out there and thought a game against Clint Lowry's Blackwell Hornets would be a good measuring stick to find out really where this team is heading into district next week. Hornet Stadium out in Blackwell, Texas, and first quarter, Blackwell at midfield. Sam Brinkman got the pitch, thought he was going to run for a second, and said, nope, I'm sending it downfield. Caught by Landon Witten, and Blackwell strikes first 8-0 after the extra point. But Erie County responded. Osiel Garza punches it in for 6. Erie County, though, they're still trailing 8-6 after a blocked extra point. But here, after an interception by Jordan Harrison, that's Garza again. There was a huge hole, and he breaks it outside, and no one's going to catch him. Touchdown, Erie County. They take a 12-8 lead. Now in the second quarter, Blackwell down 28, trying to make something happen here, and that's the Brink truck. Sam Brinkman finds Zach Panzer, who fights his way in for the touchdown. That cut Erie County's lead to just 4. But eventually, Erie County started to pull away. Trevin Kofeld to Bo Morrow for the easy pitch and catch. Erie County stays undefeated heading into district. They win by a 78-52 final.
Here's thought we played physical. I thought we played tough against a tough, physical Blackwell team, and obviously a very well-coached Blackwell team. And the guys responded to adversity. I mean, we were trailing, part of the first part of the game. We start to pull away. Blackwell just comes back. They get a stop and then score. I mean, it was a really great game, I think, for both sides to have to endure. And super proud of my young men for finishing the game strong and kind of starting to pull away there at the end.
This update sponsored by Bug Express.
Now the second-ranked Sterling City Eagles. What can I say about this team? 3 wins over ranked opponents, 2 Mercy Rule wins, 2 historical wins, beating rival Garden City for the first time since 2014 in Week 1, and taking down 6-man royalty Borden County for the first time since 1979 in Week 4. And don't even get me started about some of the individual performances on this team. Tonight they were taking on an Eden team looking to bounce back from 4 straight losses.
Yeah, and Eden's wrapping up one of the toughest non-district schedules in the area through the first 6 weeks, opening up with Blackwell, then on to Leakey, Ira, Garden City, then Morgan. But Bulldog head coach Shay Avance said he isn't afraid to back down from competition, which is why he scheduled these opponents, with another tough one coming into town. Number 2 Sterling City, the first meeting between the two since 2013. The Eagles were looking to keep their perfect record intact. The Bulldogs, their first win since Week 1. Opening drive for the Bulldogs. Dylan Odom pitches it back to Eli Oresti. He throws, but that is picked off by Cass Johnson to put the Eagles in business, and they get in business to get it done. 2 plays later, Cross Niddle, he's going to just handle the rest. Takes the pitch up the sideline and just takes off. Nothing but green. That would be a touchdown for the Eagles. They go up 6-0 after a failed kick attempt later in the first. Hudson Cox with a quick toss back to Niddle. He's going to do this, just hit the repeat button. Gone. That's his second TD of the game to put Sterling City up 14-0. Less than 2 minutes in the first. Eden just trying to find some light in their offense. Odom back to Julian Gamboa. He throws, and this one would be intercepted by Hudson Cox. So it wasn't just Sterling City's offense, their defense was getting on the action. The Eagles remain undefeated. They go on to shut out the Bulldogs tonight, 48-0.
Brant Longhorns hosting the Hermleigh Cardinals. First quarter is obviously where we'll pick it up, in the very first play from scrimmage. Here's Hermleigh's Devin Hildenbrand, who goes in for the touch. Well, he's running around. Eventually, he's going to cut it from the other sideline, and as we flashbang you, scores a touchdown. Cardinals missed the extra point. Ensuing drive for Brant, they would march right downfield. They capped the drive off here by Tegan Marinez at touchdown. Brant also missed the PAT, so we're even at 6. Now, that was the last time this game was tied, though. However, Hildenbrand, again, just following his blockers in the end zone for another Cardinal score, and he was not done. Hildenbrand, again, showing off the arm strength. He's going to roll around, scrambling, connects with Thompson for yet another Cardinal touchdown, and Hermleigh is going to get a big win over the Brant Longhorns tonight, 55-6.
Very Best is fresh off a shutout win over Panther Creek last week on the road at Mullen tonight. Tough test for Falcons as the Bulldogs looking to stay undefeated. Very Best falls in this one 60-40. They move to 2-2 on the season. The Falcons begin district play at home against Eden next week. The Water Valley Wildcats still searching for their first win this season. First road game this year at Roscoe Highland. The Wildcats, they get it, a big win over Highland. Robert Lee looking to snap a 2-game losing streak on the road at Grady. Steers can't snap that, losing tonight to Grady. And then tomorrow, Paint Rock will face TLCA Midland. Those two will meet up in Garden City. Kickoff will be at 5 p.m.
Just really quick, how about the Water Valley Wildcats? They opened with #1 Westbrook, then #3 Borden County last week. Both tough losses, and Highland's a good football team and just put it on them. So congrats, Water Valley. But even though the games are over for this week, we're not going anywhere. Coming up, we're going to do some district previews, and we'll start with the Wallhawks in TLCA and 3A Division I, and then touch on our 4-team district in 3A Division II. All of that coming up right after this.
We're the Erie County Hornets, and you're watching Inside the Game. We're the Blackwell Hornets, and you're watching Inside the Game. And you're watching Inside the Game.
Welcome to La Esperanza Clinic, with 2 locations serving San Angelo and the Concho Valley. Our Lakeview location offers adult primary, women's health, pediatrics, and dental. Our Chatburn location offers adult primary, behavior health, and extended hours. Both sites provide telehealth, 24/7 access to online patient portal, affordable payment options, assistance with Texas Healthy Women's, SNAP benefits, and Marketplace. La Esperanza Clinic is here to make healthcare accessible for everyone in the Concho Valley.
The Locker Room is back on Concho Valley homepage with high school football scores, highlights, and top stories available right from your computer.
Right at your fingertips.
The Locker Room. The Locker Room. Only on ConchoValleyHomepage.com.
Check it out today.
I wanted to give back to my world, and using CASA as an avenue, I can give back just a little bit, and it allows me to share my heart with the rest of the world and with these children. By working with CASA, we are able to have an impact on the stability, the joy, acceptance that these children feel. You are still giving of yourself to these children who need us desperately. So don't be afraid of getting out there and getting involved in these children's lives. They need you.
For the latest news, or to unwind with some engaging conversations about sports, entertainment, and everything in between, go to ConchoValleyHomepage.com/live and check out our webcasts.
These are more than just the sounds of a safe place to go after school. These are the sounds of interest being ignited and of mentors making an impact. At Boys and Girls Clubs, we don't do just one thing. We do whatever it takes to meet the needs of every kid who comes through those doors. Because whatever it takes is what it takes to build great futures. Great futures start here.
For the longest time, I really did not think football was going to happen this season, but here we are. It's happening, and it's hard to believe, but district gets started for our 21 of our 25 Concho Valley teams next week.
And you'll hear almost every coach say this is a clean slate. Everyone comes in 0-0 because how well you do in district determines whether or not a team will make the postseason and where exactly they'll be seated.
So let's get this thing started with our highest 3A district, 3A Division I, home of the Wallhawks and the recently added TLCA Eagles after the last realignment cycle. And speaking of the Wallhawks, they've won 9 straight district titles, and they're the favorites to grab number 10 this season. Next week, the Hawks open the district against TLCA at their place. As for the rest of the district, the team that could end up being the biggest threat for the Hawks is Jim Ned. The Indians kick off district against Early, while rounding out the first week is Clyde hosting Breckenridge. And so, these aren't the district standings officially, but here's how everyone stacks up based on how they've done in non-district. The only team that played this week was Jim Ned, and they knocked off the 5th-ranked team in 3A Division I, Hallettsville. They won 24-21. I won't be surprised if they move up in the top 10 next week. Wall and Clyde both sitting at 3 wins, while TLCA and Breckenridge still looking for their first wins of 2020.
4 of the 6 teams in District 2 3A Division II are Concho Valley teams: Ballinger, Brady, Sonora, and Grape Creek. The Ballinger Bearcats met their match last week against Llano. The Bearcats, a team averaging 22 points coming into that game, was shut out by the Yellow Jackets, suffering their first loss this season. They'll get set for their district opener against the Brady Bulldogs. And Brady lost to Ozona by a touchdown last week. You can't ask for a better district opener than between these two. The 92nd meeting, Ballinger holds the 58-32 series edge. One tie between the two. Bearcats have won the last two. And what a win it was for Sonora last week. A double OT thriller against El Dorado, an old rivalry renewed. That was Sonora's first win of the season, giving them plenty of momentum heading into district play, hosting undefeated Ingram Moore next week. Grape Creek will look to change their script in district play, heading in the 1-4 record with their only win over TLCA this season. The Eagles host the 4-0 Bangs Dragons. And then District 2 3A Division II standings, not the actual district standings. Ingram Moore and Bangs are the two teams left in this district that are undefeated. Ballinger right there in the mix, though. Should be interesting to see how their game with Brady goes next week. Sonora and Grape Creek with 1-4 overall record. Of course, this could all change next week since district play is what matters the most, as we've heard coaches say, because it is true.
It's the truth. I mean, and that district really is interesting because Ballinger comes in as the heavy favorite. All eyes on them, you know, despite their loss to Llano last week. Llano's a good football team. And then it's Bangs, and then you kind of look at the rest of the picture. You know, Sonora, I know they're coming off their first win of the season. Yep. Brady's in the mix there. And then you have Grape Creek. And Ingram Moore is kind of just, when you talk to coaches, especially our coaches, they're just kind of confused because they really don't know what Ingram Moore is going to do. That's going to be a really fun district to keep an eye on. And like you said, Ballinger, Brady, I think that's going to be the good litmus test, as they say,
next
to
week.
Start it off.
Can't wait.
Well, we're not really getting started. We're going to wrap things up. We've got two more districts to go. District 14 2A Division II and District 14 2A Division I with Mason and Ozona. But hey, let's take a look at this week's Bowls Fan Cam first.
Catering for Inside the Game is provided by Chick-fil-A.
Take the Dr. Pepper High School Football Challenge. Each week, go to ConchoValleyHomepage.com and test your high school football knowledge. One lucky winner could receive a $25 gift card. Go to ConchoValleyHomepage.com and take the Dr. Pepper High School Football Challenge today.
In Texas, whether it's work or play, Ford trucks lead the way with premium features that make the Ford F-Series America's best-selling truck for 43 years and the best-selling truck in Texas. Upgrade to a new F-Series today at your Texas Ford dealer. Drive home a new F-150 with over 11,000 total savings. Ford F-Series, built for Texas, built for you.
Concho Valley Homepage isn't just a website or an app in San Angelo. It's your connection to everything in the Concho Valley. From Wall to Cristoval, Miles to Grape Creek, people turn to Concho Valley Homepage over 1 million times. With webcasts, push alerts, and website exclusives, all completely free, behind zero paywalls. ConchoValleyHomepage.com isn't just news for San Angelo. It's keeping you connected to the Concho Valley.
Shop local, stay safe, and keep downtown strong.
Boys and Girls Clubs are providing millions of meals to communities, childcare to first responders, and virtual programming. We're doing whatever it takes to help families get through this crisis, but we can't do this alone. Visit bgca.org/relief fund.
Welcome back to Inside the Game. Continuing with our district previews, let's move into Class 2A with 5 of our Concho Valley teams in District 14 2A Division 2. These teams, with the addition of Junction after realignment, have made this district really fun to watch over the past 2 seasons, and this year should not be any different. Despite taking last year's district title for their 2nd in a row, might I add, El Dorado is not the favorites this year. That honor goes to the Cristobal Cougars and a handful of seniors they've got from last season's squad. The Cougars open district at home against Rock Springs next week. Backtracking to those El Dorado Eagles, they kick off district against Miles, who shared the district title with them in 2018. And rounding things out next week, Junction hits the road to take on winless Menard. So, speaking of wins and losses, here's how each team has fared so far. Biggest surprise is Rock Springs, undefeated there. But I hate to rain on their parade. All 4 wins have came over teams ranked in the bottom 20 of their classifications. You'll notice El Dorado all the way down there in 5th place. Well, it should be noted, their 4 losses, 2 are against ranked teams, the other is still undefeated, and their most recent was against historic rival Sonora in overtime. So don't expect those Eagles to be at the bottom for very long.
The other District 14 2A team, but Division 1, featuring Ozona and Mason in the pack. And what's been a surprise this season, the Mason Punchers, who won their first game last week with a 34-7 victory over former district foe Junction. The Punchers struggled to get their offense going, shut out by Comanche week 1 and San Saba week 3. They only scored 6 points against Comfort and 7 against Wall, but their offense shined last week with their 34 points, and this week they may have found it just in time for their district opener tonight against Center Point. The Pirates on that 3-game losing streak coming in, and the Ozona Lions are doing well so far under head coach Jared Taylor. 2 of their 3 wins have been over 3A squads. The Lions are off this week. Taking a look at the District 14 2A Division 1 standings, we do have a couple that did play tonight. Harper and Mason both won, so they sit on top of the district standings. Bracketville and Centerpoint 0-1 in district play. Ozona and Johnson City, they were slated to kick off tonight, as we mentioned, but earlier this week, Crockett County Consolidated Common School District announced that game will be rescheduled to November 6th due to a COVID-19 related incident. Lions will play at Centerpoint next Friday. So Mason, yes, Mason, even though they did struggle this season, they're already tied for 1st in the district standings. Granted, not everyone started tonight, but we'll see if they can keep it going through district play.
I think Ozona's going to be the real threat for them, so we'll see. Yeah. But hey, 6-man also kicks off district next week. Kind of one to keep an eye out on after tonight's results. That Water Valley Erie County game might be a lot of fun. I mean, Water Valley really surprised me, guys. That's awesome for them. So next week, district gets started, and make sure you're watching us here on Inside the Game. Until then, we'll see you next time.
Inside the Game is sponsored by Mitchell Automotive Group.